Frankly, what they're doing for golf is so great. What they're doing for the players is so great. The salaries are going to go way up.
What do you say to those family members who protested earlier this week and will be doing so again on Friday?
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11.
The trend line is one that I will sustain throughout the rest of my presidency, and that is to make an argument to those friends and allies of ours that if they want a society that is going to be able to sustain itself in this age, then they're going to have to change how they do business.
You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. Well, you shouldn't be playing, you shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country.
Trying to remind folks that part of what makes this country special is that we respect people's rights to have a different opinion. The test of our fidelity to our Constitution, to freedom of speech, to our Bill of Rights, is not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Sometimes, out of these controversies, we start getting into a conversation, and I want everybody to listen to each other.
These are polarizing differences.
We're so gallantly streaming on the rocket's red glare.
We have a country where to assimilate, you have to speak English. To have a country, we have to have assimilation. This is a country where we speak English, not Spanish.
Que trabajando duro, tu familia puede triunfar. Que si te enfermas, tengas un seguro médico.
So as you watch this and take it in, listen to what current Auburn head basketball coach Bruce Pearl had to say about former President Barack Obama.
I get so frustrated when I hear what a terrible country we are, how racist we are, how this is not the land of opportunity for everybody. Look, we've got a lot to work on, and there's racism that absolutely does exist, and it's wrong. But it's a lot better for my players than it was for their fathers or for their fathers' fathers or their fathers' fathers. And so I want my guys to recognize there are going to be obstacles, but not roadblocks. And that's what Barack Obama did. However, as our president, other than just love listening to him talk because he's such a great orator, I disagree with so many of his policies. I thought in so many ways, rather than uniting us as a country, even by race, he divided us. Everything was black and white. Everything was the obstacles that were against my players from being successful. I'm trying to teach my guys, look, I don't want you working at Subway. I want you owning 5 of them. And that's possible. And I think in many ways, Barack Obama told a different story. So it's hard to criticize him, though, because you get a lot of feedback that's really, really negative.
Let's pause here. If this isn't a dog whistle, I don't know what is. Consider this.
Hey, Bruce. With the election this week, obviously you've been very outspoken about your political beliefs. Has there, in support for Donald Trump, has there been any concern personally or, maybe from people around you about potential impact on the program in any facet, whether that be in recruiting or other areas?
Yeah, I'm glad it's basketball season, right? And I'm sure people that follow me on Twitter are glad it's basketball season. And I really take more. I spend more time on issues and policy than I do politics, really. Sometimes, they do get political, but it's more about policy and issue. And obviously, with Israel being at war and the tremendous increase and rise in anti-Semitism, public display of anti-Semitism in this country, and the things that sort of led up to a couple of Holocausts that have taken place, one back in Germany and the other one on October 7th, a year and a half ago. And so Dr. King said silence is complicity. I'm not going to be silent. As an American Jewish person that is in the public eye, I feel like it's my responsibility to try to speak the truth, know my Bible, know my history, and because we do have a problem with education in this country. And so as a teacher and a coach, I do spend most of my time just trying to provide accurate information so people can have a better understanding of the situation.
He is a supporter of the current president. He believes October 7th was a Holocaust, when historians and experts who have been calling the ongoing genocide against the Palestinians that same exact word. So take your pick, I suppose. He even quotes Dr. King, where King's daughter Bernice even tweeted at another pro-Israel warmonger like Amy Schumer, saying, "Certainly my father was against anti-Semitism, as am I." He also believed militarism, along with racism and poverty, to be among the interconnected triple evils. I am certain he would call for Israel's bombing of Palestinians to cease, for hostages to be released, and for us to work for true peace, which includes justice. He said, justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love. We have much to correct. And then she would show a clip below. Mother Jones is Garrison Hayes, who I really like. Fantastic video creator, fantastic writer, would put in his piece, prior to King's arrival in Israel in 1967, they launched the 6-day war where they took on Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. They gained territory, but it would come with thousands perishing. Israel would lay claim to the entirety of Jerusalem and seize control of the Gaza Strip, West Bank, and the Sinai Peninsula, eventually returning Sinai to Egypt after a treaty in 1979 that was signed. So King had to take a stance here regarding the 6-day war. And on ABC's program, Issues and Answers, he would say the following, and I quote, "I think for the ultimate peace and security of the situation, it will probably be necessary for Israel to give up this conquered territory, because to hold on to it will only exacerbate the tensions and deepen the bitterness of the Arabs." Hayes would add, "This powerful insight reveals King's belief in what was key to achieving peace in the Middle East. But for someone like Bruce Pearl, he sees King as a useful tool to push his Zionism."
My point on Obama the last time was this. He was calling on Israel for a ceasefire. He was calling on Israel to stop the war. He was calling on Israel, like, to release the hostages. And I'm like, dude, they're not the ones holding the hostages. They didn't start this war. The war and the violence and all the atrocities that go on both sides of the war end the minute that Hamas surrenders, releases the hostages.
Hasn't history run its course on this talking point yet? But Mondale saw this clip and would tweet below it, "He didn't divide you. Your racism did the division." Obama said, "It isn't a red America or blue America, a white America or black America." He said, "It's a United States of America. You, sir, are just used to telling black young men what to do and not to have one in power." I hope the NCAA is listening, and I also hope all black athletes know exactly what you were saying in this message. POS. I mean, Pearl's out here tweeting his affinity for a war criminal like Benjamin Netanyahu and a Christian nationalist like Speaker Mike Johnson. I mean, why are you saluting these people? He appears to equate the Palestinian flag to being a terrorist flag by retweeting this message. And to glorify his views on ethnic cleansing, he typed and tweeted, "Hamas must release all the hostages, then surrender and be allowed to just leave." The two-state solution was tried. It failed miserably. There is one Jewish state in the Middle East with millions of Arab citizens. There are 21 Arab states with a few Jews. Leave Israel alone. That is a direct message for ethnic cleansing. Leave is what he's saying. John C. Varner III would rebuke Pearl. President Obama, by just being a black man, divided the country. Bruce Pearl's racism hated him for existing as commander-in-chief. I don't know how Auburn handles this, honestly. As public opinion shifts and as Bruce Pearl becomes more red with hatred, I don't know how they address this. And I can guarantee you something. If he wasn't in the Final Four and he wasn't getting 1 seeds, 2 seeds, etc., he would not be saying this. Or he would, just not as head coach of the Auburn Tigers. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.